Thanks for tuning in to Lee Fisher Sports YouTube channel. My name is Captain Mike Murphy with Fish This Inshore Charters. Today I want to talk to you about Trident circle hooks. These are hooks I use every day in my industry, and most captains do. And we're also going to show you how to hook this up with live bait. Tampa Bay is a great fishery, and to preserve that fishery we need to maintain the hooks and the proper equipment that we use to catch these fish, not only to catch them but to release them without harm. I use Trident hooks, and particularly this one here is the inline hook on my soft plastics or my hard plastics. And the reason being is it's only a single hook hookup, and it does a lot less damage to the fish's mouth when you go to catch and release these fish. Snook particularly have a 65% survival rate, so you really want to take care of these fish when you're trying to catch them and release them. These Trident inline circle hooks work great on suspending baits, top water baits, or lipped crankbaits as well. And again, the biggest thing is taking care of the fish that you're going to release. You take care of your fishery, you take care of your resource, and it'll take care of you. My typical size is a 1/0 hook. This is a 4/0. It's a little bit bigger, but I'm going to use this one to give you a little bit of perspective of what I use them and how I use them with different baits. With shrimp, I typically like to take them so every shrimp has a horn. You got a horn there, and there's actually a horn on the tail also. But if you hook just underneath the horn, outside of the gray and the dark matter, your shrimp will stay alive. So shrimp escape by swimming backwards. You can see the shrimp how it's moving. So when that bait comes down there and it's left free swimming with or without a weight or a bobber, it's just kind of moving through the water naturally. The other way to use it, if you're going to use a weight, what I do is I take the hook and I put it just through the end of the tail. And then the line comes out of the back like this, and about right about here, put a little split shot on there, maybe 1/4 of an inch, because the typical movement of a shrimp is always going to be backwards, like a crawfish or a lobster. They walk forward, but they scoot backwards when they leave. They'll drift down, and when they're panic stricken, their tail comes up and they'll move backwards. So this shows a little bit of a movement. So when you go to use the jig or jig method, you give it a little bit of a pull like that, and then it'll kind of float back down to the bottom. And that's the best way to use it with the weighted retrieval when you're trying to catch fish like snook, redfish, and trout, and snapper, sheep's head, black drum, just about everything that eats shrimp. The Trident circle hooks come in a multitude of sizes, anywhere from a number 2 on up to a 5/0. I typically use a 1/0 for whatever I'm fishing with, redfish, snook, trout, sheep's head. I'll jump up to like this number 4 or 5 or even a 6 if I'm trying to catch grouper or kingfish and things like that. As a guide, I grew through a lot of hooks, but I can't sacrifice quality for a good value. These Trident circle hooks are immeasurable when I'm fishing on the water out in Tampa Bay. They come in a multitude of sizes, again, anywhere from a number 2 on up to a 5/0 or a 6/0. You can find them at any of your local retail shops, or you can find them at leefishersports.com. And once again, as always, send us back your feedback and send us your fishing stories. We'd love to hear them.